Hello. La Bellezza. Solare and mare. At the 4-minute mark, I'll tell you a little bit more. Welcome everyone. Mate talk time. Hoping everybody is well. Hope you have an awesome drink. Mine, of course, is my mate. For those who might be new to this style of conversation, well, I pour very carefully. Mate, everyone. Is one continuous roll, no cuts, and you get to see the humanity behind this guy here. Excuse me. And I try not to make any mistakes, but that's all part of being human, I guess. You're allowed one or two. You're allowed one or two. Today's announcements at the end of this particular episode will be, one is the fragrance tour that we're doing for 2027. This is now firmly on rails, and I'm happy to share more information about that for those who might be interested to join me. Then there are further updates when it comes to all things Olfactive Traveler. Today I will be sharing a little bit more about the new release, but I've got some exciting things that I want to share. We're trialing a new concept, and I'd love to share that with you guys. And it's already in play right now, so if you jump on the website, you'll be able to see that. Anyway, boom, let me begin. So the desire to travel has been something that I've always done, and I think I was born with this. It was inside my blood already, the sense of adventure, the exploring all parts of the world. One point that I love doing is I really love embracing wherever I am. So we had a rule when I was, as a young father with my children, that we could not eat any food other than what that country represented. So if we were in America, yes, we could go to fast food places and burgers and whatnot, but if we were in, I don't know, Malaysia, Hong Kong, guess what we were eating? And I remember Hong Kong was very tough for my kids because we weren't allowed, well, I mean, we were allowed at the end, but the idea is to really immerse yourself in that culture rather than doing the same thing that you always do back at home sort of thing. Anyway, so the sense of travel and the sense of adventure and the sense of discovering something new has always been a part of me. We just created the fragrance tours as a way to, because the second love of my life is, other than my wife and my family, my children, they're the first love, full stop, is perfume and smelling. I've always loved beautiful smells, and yes, obviously we attribute that to perfume, but beautiful smells exist no matter where you are. I mean, out this window here, I can see my 2 orange trees. When they are in full blossom with the orange blossoms, oh my gosh, it is heavenly. The smell that they emanate, and I lie not when I say that I sit under those trees and I just smell and I look at the leaves and I crush the leaves and I smell the flowers. I spend a good 15, 20 minutes. I know it sounds crazy, but just the smell that they emanate is heavenly. Actually, I talk to the plants, and this is why they give me so much beautiful fruit. So the beauty of beautiful smells is something that I'm super passionate about. Now, we created a brand called Olfactive Traveler, bada bing. Actually, here's the front of it. Here's all 3 of them, bada boom. And they were connected to the fragrance tours that we do, and this was a celebration of Italy. Now, I've traveled many parts of the world. I do love wherever I go. There is something in Italy that draws me back. I'm actually Argentinian born, so it's not like Italy is my homeland as such. My wife is Italian, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But there's something in Italy that just draws me. I don't know what it is. It's something in the air, something in the soil, something in the atmosphere. But I'm always drawn to Italy, and I really, I just really enjoy it. So these 3 fragrances were a celebration of Milan, Florence, and Rome. We did use an Italian perfumer called Luca Maffei, and when we built these three fragrances, we always wanted to have, this was my vision, a final chapter to this thing here. So I filmed Mate Talk on Monday night, last night. I could not sleep. My brain is abuzz thinking about La Bellezza. And one thing that I was thinking is that I was being too coy, too quiet, too reserved. The night before, Sunday night, we all got together at Nelson's house, my son, and I finally had the finished product of La Bellezza, and everybody was spraying. Now, from 2-year-old children to the adults, they were all oohing and eyeing on each of these 2 fragrances. So Solare has this sunshine, bright citrus, super happy. It makes you actually feel like sunshine has come into your life. And then there's mare, which is now this sea salt. It's like you're like this actual artwork where you're standing on a balcony and you're overlooking the ocean and you're feeling the sea spray and the sea air and intermingled with, you know, the florals around you. Kevin and I be building this quietly by ourselves, you know, alongside. So Luca Maffei is our perfumer for this final chapter. So when I finally got it, gave it a chance to be out in the wild, be in the world, and to see the response, it just warms your heart. And anyway, last night I could not sleep, and this morning I thought, I'm going to interrupt Mate Talk. I'm going to hijack it with talking more about the two fragrances, the fact that it actually is two fragrances in one. So La Bellezza is in fact both solare and mare. The idea was that we did want to close the final chapter to the Italian collection with something that celebrated both Kevin's memory of the south of Italy and my memory of the south of Italy. There's a really deep story for Kevin, hence why there's a Prosecco glass there. There is a Prosecco note in Solare. And for me, it's, you know, whenever we travel to the south, I always stay in a town called Tropea. We are overlooking the ocean. I do see this outside my window. Actually, I'll put some footage here or some photos here. And so we both wanted to, I guess, sign off on it individually. And hence we decided to create a duet. The duet do support one another. So you can actually, it's about creating a symphony, the two fragrances. So you could be wearing one, your partner could be wearing one. It's about creating this silhouette when it comes to the fragrance notes. We have celebrated very deeply the citruses from the south of Italy. You'll notice actually here are the notes for Solare and Mare. They're all taken from Atelier Fragranze Milano's own private farms, and they're all across either Calabria, in Cosenza, and also in Sicily. And we purposely selected these ingredients to really amplify the celebration of the South, and in particular to celebrate these this last expression, this final chapter. What am I trying to say? One thing I didn't say in the rest of this episode is it's now on the website. So this was another thing that was buzzing through my brain last night. Do I release now? Do I wait? Because on the 16th, a deeper video is going to be released with Kevin and I. Decided that everything's going out now. So if you jump on our website, you can see both Solare and Mare on there. You'll be able to see the notes. You'll be able to see a description of what the fragrance is about. You'll also see the price point, and it is identical to Pelle Viola. So in Australia, it's $440. Across the world, these are the prices here. So we want to have the same price point as Pelle Viola, essentially. If you jump on the website, you'll see that there is a sign up to the newsletter. We will be releasing information over the next coming weeks in the lead up to the 29th, when the release of La Bellezza will happen. There will be a lot more information. There will be a gift with purchase. So on the 29th, only for 3 days, there will be a special offer. But if you subscribe to that newsletter, you'll be able to get more information and a deeper understanding of what these two gorgeous fragrances that I've been working on for the last 10 months, just about, I feel. And finally they get to see the light of day, which I'm super excited about. But now, back to our regular format. Back to Monte Talk. So today, what I want to do is, since we're celebrating the south of Italy, I wanted to bring together a number of fragrances that represent the south of Italy for me. You may have seen the thumbnail, as I said, so you already know the fragrances that I'm going to talk about. So I'd be curious to hear your feedback, and curious to hear what you guys think, whether I hit it on the head or whether I was off the mark. The number one for me that says the south of Italy is none other than Terroni. This is the ultimate celebration of the South. So Alessandro Gualtieri did mention that when he built Terroni, he was thinking of his ancestors, his great-grandfather, who actually came from Calabria. And it's about the celebration of the land in the South. One thing that, and so the word Terroni, for those who may not know, Terroni is a derogatory word. It's actually a very heavy slang. Not as heavy as the N word in America. Here in Australia, we use a word called wog, and I think it's very similar to that. It's basically like a Terroni was considered as a person who was uncouth, who was dirty, technically who had dirt in their fingernails, you know. So it was really, as the South has always been poor, I guess, and as the people from the South were going up north, the Northerners did not like them and were calling them Terronis, like you don't want to hire these people. They're uncouth, they're uncultured. So in this case here, Alessandro really sort of lent into that word and celebrated that, I guess, being a Terroni, sort of embraced that word by creating a fragrance which is very earthy, which is very robust. There is a sense of being in the dirt, like feeling like you're in the earth and you're connected to the earth. I haven't sprayed it on me because it will dominate everything I've got. I sprayed this early and I sprayed it away from this area here, otherwise it just will destroy. It becomes the only signature, olfactory signature in this space. Actually, check out this episode. Here I go into a lot more detail about what the fragrance is and how it breaks up. Then have a look at this. This is myself and Elias, and I do like the way Elias shared his feelings on this. Because we don't know what the notes are, we can just sort of make assumptions. Elias attributed the sweetness to a berry, and whilst I may say yes, I'm also going to say no, because I find that berry can be very distinct in like a raspberry or a berry, essentially. Whereas for me, I get a sweetness that is a little bit more earth-like, and so I actually attribute it to like a pimiento. So you have a sweet, sort of earthy sensation, not necessarily capsicum, but more pimiento-like. But there is some kind of sweetness in there. There is a leathery touch to it that does have an oud nature to it, and then there is the earthiness. If you look at my top 5 video that I created, I do put this as my #1 pick. So Terroni is one of those fragrances where it's a super grounding, it's mind settling, and the other thing too, and so I mean, why do I love it so much? It's when I'm wearing it, Sandra, my wife, detects it super quickly and is always complimenting me. And I always joke that she, like her soul, can tell that this is a fragrance of her region, you know, of where her parents were born. She was born here in Australia, but it's a fragrance of her ancestors, essentially. It's a deep, soul rumbling earth, it's glorious. One that I would recommend, and yes, for me, it's the ultimate in celebration of the South. All right, the rest are on me, have been on me for about 2 hours now, and let me go into it. Now, the next one that I want to put forward to you is by the brand Gallivant. I do like what they do in the sense that they celebrate, or they interpret the smell of a city, or what that could smell like. I resonate with this like crazy because I love the thought of that. Well, I do believe every place has a smell, that when you walk into a location, it has an olfactory profile. In a lot of cases with Gallivant, it's an imagination. In this case here, Naples, and I've read in a few comments on Instagram, Fragrantica, where they're like, well, that doesn't smell like Naples. And I think it's conceptual. What I do get out of here, and I do believe that, in my opinion, Luca Maffei has nailed it, is very much a sense of Naples. So for those who have had a chance to visit Rome, Rome is a very stylish, very well dressed up city. There's a movie called La Grande Bellezza, and if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend it. It's one of my all-time favorite films. I've seen it I was going to say 100, but that's not true. I've seen it 10 plus times. And I really enjoyed the storyline. Now, everything about La Grande Bellezza is beautiful. Everyone's stylish, it's sophisticated. There is a debonair sense in the air. Then there's another movie by the name of, actually I wrote it down, Beep Bop Boop, Nostalgia. And this is now set in Naples, and it is gritty, it's grungy. It's kind of dirty. You almost feel like it leaves like a residue on your skin. You know, there's like a slick black oily feeling to it. And for me, these two films embody these two cities. Rome is elegant and classy and everything else, and nothing against Naples, but this is what Naples is. It's rough and it's a little bit gritty and there's a little bit more. The people, they almost have harsher exteriors. The way they look. I remember going from, we traveled, we've been a few times now to Naples, in primarily because we love all things Pompeii, so that's how you get into Pompeii and the museum and everything else that's there. And I remember the first time, both Sandra and I were like, where in the world are we? This does not feel like Italy. And actually on that point, one thing I love about Italy is that everything is very distinct. I mean, unification only happened in 1861, not that long ago. And prior to that, it was all like different states. And so they all have their own very deep personality when you travel. And when you go to Naples, it's very different to Rome. And they're not that far apart. I mean, I think it was about an hour and a half on the train, but you are in a different place. And I remember that the streets looked meaner. The alleyways looked more menacing. The people looked like they were gonna beat you up. It was a different atmosphere. And this is what I get from Naples. When it opens, it's harsh, it's in your face, it's slightly aggressive. There is a mixture of this cardamom, this nutmeggish, sort of spicy herbal element to it. There is green that's coming through. It's quite in your face. It's almost like, you know, what do you want? You know, chest out sort of thing. But then, when you begin to discover and you sort of settle down, you realize these are Italians. And I find that Italian, and I love everywhere in the world. However, I do find the Italians, there's a warmth to them. You show a little bit of interest in them, in their language, in their culture, and they will open the door for you. I've discovered this when we've traveled around Italy. Not always. I mean, I'm thinking now of being on a train station. People at the train station are not Italian. No, they're Italians, but I tell you that their patience levels is very small. So when you get to know the Nepalese, they're awesome. They're awesome people, super friendly, very interested in their Naples and who they are. But their exterior is rough, and I find that Naples, the fragrance, is exactly that. It has this aggressive opening, but then when it begins to settle, it does go into a wonderful incense sort of feeling to it. But for me, it's more papyrus, dry, peppery-like than it is anything church-like or anything like that. The other part that, sorry, I already said 2 hours on dry down. The other part is that even in the dry down, I am getting a tinge of like a citrus coming through, and it's a sharp, almost lime, a sharp bergamot or a sharp lemon. I know that the lemons, or around the Amalfi Coast, it's famous for its lemon. So truthfully, I don't remember the notes. Hannah's going to put them all here for you. But what I'm getting from a scent profile is this sharp lemon, lime sort of profile to it with a very dry, peppery, papyrus, incense-like quality to it. And it's magic. This is a suit-up fragrance. This is a day-to-day fragrance. This is a fragrance that works really well in cool weather. It works brilliantly in summer and nice heat. There was one other thing I wanted to share. Oh, when it comes to its presence and projection. So I get 7+ hours without a problem. And I find that the CO, or its presence, is probably in that moderate. It's like a not confident. It's in a sort of in the middle, in that moderate sort of stage. This is one, again, Sandra has a radar for this. Whenever I'm wearing it, she's always complimenting and loves the scent profile of it. There is something quite alluring by this fragrance. It is a little bit more masculine leaning. So ladies, if you like more woody, more spicy elements in your fragrance, it's not overtly aromatic. So there's no lavender sort of, some people say that there's a barbershop feel to it. I don't feel that. There is a little bit of soapiness in the mid part there, where it has this sort of a slightly aquatic sort of nature to it. I know that there are some aquatic notes, but it's not an aquatic fragrance, not to my nose. And as I said, on dry down, you're getting, it's peppery, it's dry incense, and a touch of that citrus coming through. Anyway, gorgeous fragrance, big recommendation from me. And in my opinion, yes, it does celebrate the South really, really well. Boom. Let me move on. Okay, the next one is obvious in the sense that it is now Perris Monte Carlo's Italy collection. I selected, now the Italy collection celebrates all the South, so Sicily, Calabria, and even Cosenza with one of their fragrances. This one here is Bergamotto di Calabria. And for me, this is now this is the must-have in the collection. So bergamot is forever used across all fragrances. If you want to understand what that bergamot smells like, then I would recommend to you test out Bergamotto di Calabria, because this is now a beautiful representation of what the bergamot smells in nature itself. The creative geniuses behind this actually is the Paul and McCartney duet of Jean-Luc Perris and Luca Maffei. These two gentlemen have worked together on a few projects. They riff really well together, they're good friends, and in creating this, they've really created something really spectacular. And again, for me, this is a minimum. If you want to have a really good fragrance that is a staple across everything, and I'll go into more, you can layer this one here. I do like it for its own profile, but this is something that is, in my opinion, a must. Now, they partnered with an oil extractor based in the South called Capua. They were first built in 1880. When I caught up with Luca Maffei in AFM, here's a production, and we talked about this one here. He mentioned that for this year, and I actually called him out on it. I said, really, is that a cute marketing story, or is that a real story? And not that he got offended, but if you can see his reaction. He's like, whoa, no, this is true. This is actually what happens. So the reason why they chose Capua and why the bergamot, what happens in this bergamot, is that they use a process called spugna. Now, spugna is an old-fashioned way of extracting oils from citrus. Again, 1880 is how long Capua has been extracting oils from the South, well, from citruses in the South. And what happens is that they get a sea sponge, all right? This is all part of the spugna, so it's not just an ordinary sponge, it's a sea sponge from that region. You scratch the surface of the bergamot, and then with the sponge, you soak up the oils. Now, that sounds extremely labor intensive, which it is, and that sounds a little bit like marketing, which if you want to be cynical, you can say yes. As I said, in that episode, if you watch it, have a look at Luca Maffei's response. When I say that, is this actually spugned? Is it actually? And he's like, yes. This is the process. This is what they do, because if you treat it any other way, so if you do it through the machinery and blah blah, it doesn't quite. It bruises the peel too much, or it bruises the actual oils, and it doesn't give you the actual feeling of the trueness of the actual bergamot. Yes, my brain's like, okay, what else do I want to see? So the profile of this. So the bergamot here is the fragrance here is this, like I mentioned, a beautiful representation of what it's like in nature. So the moment you spray, you're getting this sunshine, brightness, a touch lemony in its profile, but more floral than anything else. There is also a little bit of green that comes through. When it dries down, give me a second, you're getting the greenness still coming in, the citrus just being present, but you are now getting a touch of the florals and woody sort of nature to the fragrance. Think of it like, so I find that neroli has a very clean, bright morning sharpness to it. I find that neroli can be a little bit sharp and a little bit on that soapy side. The Bergamotto di Calabria, on its dry down, remains citrusy, it remains playful. It does have that neroli sort of profile to it, so that slight sort of clean, but not sharp. And that's the thing about it. There is almost an element of a floral nature to it, with a little bit of that greenness coming in. The thing is this, you do have to, so I've only put one spray across, I think maybe it was two on this one. The one thing about the Bergamotto di Calabria is that it does, after 4 hours, 5 hours, it does pull itself right back. Normally I like to spray 3 times. I know that when I'm wearing Bergamotto, I'm spraying 5 to 6 without a problem, and that'll carry me over to that 5-hour mark. So what I love about this, if you're having a day off from perfume, and this is how I like to wear it. If you're having a day off, just want something, but you still want to have a perfume. I mean, I wear a fragrance every day, but there are some days that I'm like, I really want to just tone it down. I don't want anything too strong or too in my face. Something that's more just pleasant and easy to wear. Either I reach for a Neroli, or I reach for one of the Italian collection with Bergamotto di Calabria as a great choice in that regard. I do find that it is a great as a layering fragrance. You can put a heavier molecule fragrance on top that might be a bit heavy, say something patchouli-like or something deep amber or something of that nature, and then put this over the top, and you'll find that it gives it a sparkle, it gives it a lightness, makes it sort of sing in a different way. So super versatile. I don't like doing it because I want to respect, this is just me, I want to respect what Luca Maffei and Gianluca did in creating this fragrance. There's no reason why you can't have Bergamotto here and something else here, and they interplay, because I like smelling their own unique fragrances rather than, I'm not a perfumer, so I don't want to create my own thing. That's just me. That's just what I like doing. Yep, the last part, as I mentioned, the whole Italy collection celebrates all of the south of Italy, and one that I would encourage, Bergamotto di Calabria, is phenomenal. All right, next one. Staying with that citrus style, but now really pushing into something that is, whoa, 26 minutes, I better stop. I'm gonna stop, and then I'll come right back, and back. So the next one is now continuing on that celebration of a citrus note for the south. This is something with a little bit of a twist, and it's Meo Fusciuni's Isola. This, in fact, is a dual celebration of both Japan as an island and also his homeland of Sicily as an island, where it is an island, not as an island. And Isola is that celebration of, I guess, the two loves of his life, other than his beautiful Federica, of course. The note that he uses here, or wants to celebrate, is the yuzu note. The catch is this, though. This is not a classic yuzu fragrance in my view. So it does sort of celebrate that yuzu profile, but it's not a celebration of yuzu necessarily. It is more a celebration of the blend between, I mean, for me, I see an island, you know, so it's a blend between the aquatic, the land, and also the citrus from that area there. When it opens, it has a stunning, lemony, minty kind of vibe to it. Now, there's no mint listed, but my brain instantly goes lemon, mint, sort of sparkling. I know that we did a fragrance, last year, the fragrance tour in Italy did include Meo Fusciuni. We went to Sarzana, his hometown in Liguria, which is on the Italian Riviera. And he did mention that the motivation, or the creative thought behind Isola was his memory of being as a child in Sicily and having this lemonade that his mother would make. And that's what it does remind me of too. There's a lemonade sort of feeling to it. You know, a slightly sort of pared back lemon flavor, not necessarily the sugariness of it. There are other fragrances out there that have sort of amp up the lemony sugar element of it. Take Torino 21, for instance. Whereas here, I do get a visual of lemon, lemonade, and mint in the glass, and icy and cold, and that's what you get on that opening. It's interesting to note the notes in the fragrance that are listed is a celebration of citruses: blood orange, orange, lemon, mandarin, and yuzu. but all I really get is that yuzu, lemony sort of zestiness rather than those other pieces in the actual fragrance. For about 20 or 30 minutes, you're getting that lemony sort of element of it. Then it begins to dry itself back, and then the aquatic nature, this musky nature begins to now take place. Again, I go back on the notes. There's no listing of aquatic, there's no listing of, or there is a musk, I think, in the base, but there's nothing, sort of to signify this aquatic nature. But to my nose, I do get a feeling of almost like a Bergamotto style, you do get, but not so pungent, not so seaweed or algae-like, more because of the citrus and because of that yuzu and all those other citruses that are in there. It just gives it a bit more of a lift. What I do love is that the yuzu or the lemon, the citrusy zest never goes away. It's always present in amongst the other things that are playing in the background. I wrote here that it also has patchouli, it has vetiver, it has tonka, but I don't get any of that stuff. So I find that, if anything, it's a very beautiful representation of, first, that wonderful lemonade and sort of mint profile, which then goes into this lemony, musky sort of element, the musky sort of aquatic sort of nature to it. This is gorgeous in summer. So for me, this is an all year round. So actually, one other thing too. Oops. Bergamotto di Calabria all year round. This is what I'm saying. This is a staple. By having it in your collection, you're never going to go wrong. You can use it at any time of the year. The Isola is the same. So I find that in summer, it sings best. So in summertime, as you sweat, it just radiates. When we went to Sarzana last year, I did get Isola when we caught up with Meo. I was wearing it in Florence. It was stinking hot in Florence. And it was just glorious. It was really just, it's a super summer, happy, but with a twist because of those other notes that are playing in the background. The other thing that I find that it does play different on different skin, because on that particular trip, there was another gentleman there by the name of Karim. He was also on a particular day. He was wearing Isla too. I walked up to him, I said, hey man, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, whoa, you smell really good. What are you wearing? And he goes, I'm wearing Isla. He goes, actually, you smell really good. What are you wearing? I'm wearing Isla. We smell different. So what I thought was the scent profile that I was getting was not what I was getting off him. So something that is quite unique, something that is a little bit chameleon-like, wears really well in winter. The truth is, it projects better in summer. In winter, it still wears really well. I wore it 2 days ago. Was really very much enjoying it. Was getting about 7 hours. I get a little bit more in summer, and I find that the projection also in summer pushes out more, whereas in winter, it's a pleasant fragrance. It's a moderate when it's around me. That's pretty much it. So Isla, big recommendation, lovely fragrance, and one that celebrates the Sicily in the south. Now, the next one, I'm welcome. I invite you guys to challenge my decision here, because you're going to think, how does that celebrate the south? So firstly, let me show you the fragrance, and that is Royal Tobacco by Amouage. And I'm saying that this celebrates the south. You may ask why. All right. So one thing that in the south is very popular, and I'll go one more. When on one of the trips when we went to visit Sandra's family, her uncle gave me, because I love the Italian lollies. There's a brand called Leone, and they've been making candies and Italian style sweets for quite some time. They have these great tins. I love these tins. I'm a collector. I'm going to show you the others that I've got here. So I love these tins. They're embossed, and I use them for multiple other things. Anyway, so he gave me a collection of Liquorizza di Calabria. So what's famous in Calabria is the licorice. They have these hard licorice lollies. Now I do play a party trick, and this one here is my party trick player. This one here, I don't remember the name, but anyway, bottom line is, it's the most bitter, it's the most intense, it's the most just like full-on herbal licorice flavor you're ever likely to meet. Now I know that the Dutch love the salted licorice, I love it too, But the salted licorice almost has the sort of ammonia the aftertaste, but it does have a little bit of a sweetness or a floral nature to it, whereas the Calabrian licorice is in your face. It's bitter and it's harsh, but once you get used to it, it's wonderful. My party trick is I normally say to people, hey, look, I've got these candy or these lollies from Italy. Would you like one? Sure. Boom, boom. They take one. And then for those who know the joke, we're just watching this person's expression as I all of a sudden start to grimace, and they're like, what have you given me poison? Because it has an intense herbal nature to it. One thing that I find, so in light of that, why royal tobacco? I find that royal tobacco has the best licorice, aniseed, anise profile of any fragrance I know. If you love the licorice scent profile, then royal tobacco is magic. It's interesting. I really feel that they threw a curveball at everybody by calling it tobacco, because you imagine something else. There's another great tobacco fragrance that everybody loves, and I'm going to talk about it shortly, which is this gorgeous thing here. Whereas royal tobacco is like, what in the world have you just done to me? I was in a masterclass with Renaud Salmon. He did talk about that what him and Cecile Zorican wanted to do was create a green, unprocessed tobacco. According to them, and I've never smelt it, so I don't know, it smells very licorice-like. Or it has a very green herbal, that's what it is, green herbal element to it. So what's happened here with royal tobacco is it is very licorice forward, very aniseed, very herbal. It does have a sharpness to it. This is not for everybody, but for those who can appreciate it, this is sophistication. This is royal. This is just a gorgeous suit-up fragrance. This is something that really is a statement maker. I do recommend, I like to wear it in somewhere where there will be open space, or somewhere where it can breathe, as opposed to maybe going to a meeting with it. I find that 3 sprays will take me now to 24 hours into the future. It has great presence. Recently I was wearing it. Sandra said to me, and we were quite some distance from one another, she said, I'm smelling caramel oud. So one thing that I do love, so it does start very herbal, very green, very aniseed, very licorice-like, similar to these sort of candies, very, in your face, bitter. But then when it begins to dry down, about 20 or 30 minutes, it does have like a caramel tinge that comes through. It's very molasses-like. It's a very rich, gooey-like, dark liquid sort of caramel that you're picturing. And there is oud in the fragrance too. I don't pick up the oud as much as the licorice continues to remain as part of its profile. There's another great licorice caramel that I love in Italy. This is now in the north. I mainly get it, I've always found it in Milan. But anyway, it's this particular candy here, and I love this candy. I love it. I cannot get enough of it. I actually have to stop myself because it's so Moorish. And here, the balance is a beautiful herbal licorice, but with this velvety caramel, just gorgeous. And that's what I get on the dry down when it comes to royal tobacco. And it's gorgeous. It's spectacular. There is a million notes in this fragrance, but for me, to summarize it very quickly, what I mainly get is a herbal, caramel, and I could say oud effect or woody effect to the fragrance as a whole. I don't get that tobacco nature to it. There is maybe a slight earthy, hay-like element to it, but the licorice, to my nose, is constantly present. And again, I always think about the style of lollies. All right, I think that pretty much covers that one there. Let me just make sure that I've covered it. Oh yeah, so I wrote caramel, licorice, amber. So, but I do get a woody effect. But it definitely has a very deep amber nature to it, but it does have that woody state, that woody element to it too. Yeah, okay, perfect. I did write here 12 plus hours, but I think I mentioned 24. And it's definitely in that confident moderate. It has enormous, great push. Now the next one, which I think will be my last one, is save the best to last. This is Naxos, and Naxos celebrates the island of Sicily again. There is a town called Naxos. A lot of people like to write in, but Naxos is in Greece. Yes, there is a Naxos in Greece, but in this case here, Xerjoff was celebrating 1861. 3 fragrances came out. Naxos was the celebration of Sicily. There's a town called Taormina. When I was in Taormina, so we traveled around Sicily quite a bit, and we were in the town of Taormina. And the plan was, I had these great plans, that I was going to travel down to Naxos and take a photo of myself in Naxos wearing Naxos. It didn't happen. And that was purely because Taormina is gorgeous. For those who have been there, you just don't want to leave. So we basically stayed there and just enjoyed the town, and you stand on that, there's a piazza that overlooks the ocean. It's just incredible. Anyway. Naxos. Can you have a look at the color? Look how gorgeous the color on this thing is. Now, I've had this for quite some time now. This was my first. I bought 3 Xerjoffs very early on. I actually think it was pre-channel. It was pre the channel that I bought these fragrances. And this has always been a sweetheart of mine. Now, recently, and here's a question. I'm going to go into this reformulation conversation. Recently, my son, who was living with us for, he moved out probably about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And this was also his fragrance of choice. He recently bought it for himself. His liquid is a lot more yellowy, so it's not as golden as this thing is here. But to my nose and to his nose, it smells the same. I wore it today. Maybe there's a bit more amber richness to this fragrance here. Maybe it has been the fact that it's been in the bottle for a lot longer, so it's the maceration is one, it's the maturation. The maturation on this maybe is a little bit longer, and therefore the coloring is deep. I don't know. But bottom line is, to me, Naxos, old school Naxos, this one here, smells the same as the new version that's come out. But truthfully, I don't know. Okay, so in case you're going to raise the question, why is your color more amber, yada yada, I don't know, other than mine's a way older bottle than my son's bottle, but his smells the same. Now, what does it smell like? I do love, my lips are dry. You see me, I've licked my lips about 5 times already, sorry. I do love the beauty of Naxos is that it blends these, I guess, these joyous notes that I think everybody loves in such harmony that creates an absolute pure beauty. Aromatics, so the lavender, the freshness, the brightness, this honeyed effect, so a slight sweetness with this warm ambery touch to it. The tobacco, that hay-like earthiness, and again, warm ambery nature to it. And then there's a 4th one, or maybe that's it. Honey, and the amber nature to it. It just has an alluring essence to it. I mean, I remember when I first experienced this on first spray, I'm like, where have you been all my life? I mean, the harmony, the beauty created here is just joyous. I mentioned earlier that beautiful smell in the air is something that brings happiness. We were out walking with Sandra. A young man walked past, and I'm telling you, I can put money he was wearing Naxos. The scent profile, that beautiful ambery with a bit of honey and that tobacco and the aromatics and I said to Sandra, he's wearing Naxos, and he look, if he was not, whatever he was wearing was still as magical as what Naxos is when it's in the air. All through today, I've been wearing it as my fragrance of choice. As I've been moving, as I've been bending down, picking up things, and the sort of the scent profile pops, it just makes me happy, and it's always done this. Whenever I smell Naxos, it's a fragrance that makes you happy, calms my soul. It just makes me happy. It's a great fragrance, and for me, it's a beautiful celebration of the south of Italy, and that is its intention, and also the fact that 1861 and Italy became united in one nation, yada yada. When it comes to its projection and staying power, my one here has 7 to 8 hours without a problem. Very present. I'm going to say 12 plus, but to temper it, 7 to 8 without a problem. And I do find that its projection is in that very confident moderate. It does have a nice push. People around me can detect the fragrance without a problem at all. And as I mentioned, this is my son Farron's favorite. This is his go-to. This is his statement maker. This is the one that he always wears to create presence wherever he may be. I'm going to stop one last time, and I'll be back for the announcements. I'm back. So there you have it, a bit of a celebration of all things the south of Italy, with the primary force or the primary motivation being La Bellezza. As I mentioned, in 2 weeks' time on the 16th, the episode will come out with Kevin and I. We go into a lot more detail about what the fragrance is, the motivation for both of us, the storyline. If you look at the artwork, you do get a sense of what the fragrance will be about. So that there's some clues in that. It purposely was built that way. But if you want to know more between now and the end of the month when we launch, subscribe to the newsletter. That'll give you, there's a lot more things coming through. And also, if you jump on the Instagram page for Olfactive Traveler, you'll see that a lot of things will begin to sort of reveal themselves. Now, in regards to Olfactive Traveler, there are some announcements. All this is actually on the website live right now. So for those people who had the opportunity to buy, or you still can, mind you, it's still available, the Olfactive or the OT Traveler, which is a leather-bound travel set, 8mm sticks inside of the 3 fragrances that we launched, Milan, Florence, and Rome. You can actually now get refills. So these are now available. The 8mm sticks are now on the website. You can actually purchase those. I need to point out that we have low stock on Pelle Viola. So Pelle Viola is only 500 bottles that were made. We did create a little bit over 500 sticks for the actual, for the fragrance, but know that once the Pelle Viola is gone, it's gone. Until we create the new season, by the way. So until the next harvest happens. But for the 2025 harvest, once that's gone, it's completely gone. You can purchase the sticks, as I mentioned, and that way you can have refills when it comes to your Olfactive Traveler OT set. Now, one thing that is also present on the website right now, and it's something that we've been testing for a little bit, it's now official and now has gone live, and that is that when you achieve a certain threshold when it comes to your sales or your purchase, you'll get free delivery and we will pay for customs, or the duties. The idea is that you will have no more to pay, and you'll see that on the website. This is primarily for the US and Central Europe. The rest of the world, we're working on this because it's all to do with the local company that we're using, DHL. We've been now, it's coming close to a year that we've been working with them, and we've been achieving certain thresholds, which has created some, like everything, the more you use, the slightly adjusted pricing that you get. And so rather than keep that pricing, we want to pass that on to you guys. And also, we're trying to prep things up ready for La Bellezza. Okay, so right now, what we've done is we are continuing to use DHL, who are super efficient. They're awesome. We've been finding that it takes from Australia to anywhere in the world 5 to 7 days, which is pretty fast personally. 5 working days. So if it goes over the weekend, then it'll spill over. But on working days, about 5 to 7 working days. So yeah, so if you hit that threshold, free delivery, and we will pay the duties, okay? So nothing more to pay, and that way it's completely easy for you guys to know what the cost of these things will be. Boom. So that's on the website now. If you want to check that out, please do. The last part to all of this, ding, 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 let me just make sure, yes, okay. So for those who know, for the past 3 years, been doing the fragrance tours. And the idea behind it really is in line with my first, what I mentioned at the start of this episode, the joy of beautiful smells and the joy of travel. And here it's this combination of the two. So the fragrance tours are all about experiencing the creators and being in the room with the perfumers, being in the room where they or the conversation on extracting oils. This year's tour is in the south of France. We are doing Grasse, Cannes, and Gresque. My brain is constantly thinking Milan, Florence, and Rome. So we're doing Grasse, we're doing Cannes, and we're doing Gresque. And the experiences that we're creating here is really about going into the soul of these brands. So for instance, Sorador, a brand that I absolutely adore. Quentin, I salute the man. I thank him from the bottom of my heart. I deeply am appreciative of the support that Quentin has given me from very early on the channel. And he was one of the first that jumped on the very first fragrance tour that we did. And I'll also quantify that. I shared this concept with a number of brands that I wanted to work with, and some of them laughed at me. And I'm not saying that in a sort of like a hurt. I wasn't hurt. It's a concept that is very complex, and you think to yourself, how is this guy going to pull it off? My background is event management. I had an event management business for many, many years, and we were working with the Australian Open, the Grand Prix, and the Melbourne Cup, and so know how to deal with big events. Anyway, the good news was that Quentin took a gamble with us, and it worked really well. So Quentin is back again. So we will be going to the town of Gresque. One thing that I love about what Quentin does with Sorador is that he incorporates his family history into his fragrances. He does have a fragrance called Gresque, and it's all about the place where his great-grandfather actually arrived when he came in from somewhere else in Europe and started their life in France. And we're going to Gresque with our group, and we're going to do, I'm not going to spoil the thunder for those who might be watching who are going to join us on the tour. We're going to be doing very specific things that are connected to his family and connected to the fragrances. So this is what I love doing. This is what I enjoy creating. So the next tour that's happening is going to be in 2027 in September. Here is the date. This is the date that we have locked in. I won't announce just yet where we're going, but let me just say we've been to France, not going there again. We've been to Italy, we're not doing that again. We are going somewhere else in Europe. So this is a brand new location. It is a small group tour, only 10 people, so we're going to cap it at 10. If you are interested, please DM me. If you go to the KM Fragrance Tour DM account, I'd love you to follow that because we will be also releasing more information via that method. But in October, say about mid-October, I will be announcing what the tour in 2027 will be all about. I've got a number of meetings. I've already been doing deep meetings with a number of brands that will be present on that tour. Super excited to share more about that. But I will be in Cannes and meet with them in person. And that way I can elaborate clearly some of the concepts that we've been discussing. So as of October this year, in 2 months, I will announce the next tour, which will happen in September 2027. But if you want to be first to know, only 10 spots are available. If you want to be first to know, make sure you DM me, make sure you're following that OT page, the KM page, the Fragrance Tour page, and I will share more information to you guys. Boom, there it is. Grazie, I feel like I've run a marathon. Well, that was a very big mate talk. I look forward to hearing there were other fragrances that represented the south of Italy, but I thought, you know what, 6 fragrances covers quite a bit. And then, of course, La Bellezza mia. You know how long it's been working on this thing. I've been dreaming. I'll tell you some of the dreams that I've had on this thing anyway. But cannot wait. Last night we sprayed this as a family. I showed this is in here. It's brand new. I showed my sons, and they were like just drooling. They just can't wait for it to come out. So I'm excited to share more with each of you guys when it comes to this beautiful new fragrance. Thank you, everyone. Look forward to your comments. We'll see you guys all on the next Monte Talk. Bye, everyone.